Straight into the roof of the net. Nice one. Straight down the middle. So a good performance from both teams here today.
Hi, you're watching Firstpost. I'm Rupha Ramani. Let's get started. Now, when it comes to cricket, there is no bigger brother than India. They have the lion's share when it comes to financial profits. You all know about it. And they're also quite lion-hearted. Recently, India strengthened its ties with one of its neighbors, Nepal. This is the second time India has extended its assistance in helping another cricket country grow. Do stick around to know more. Speaking of big brothers, can the Blue Tigers, the Indian football team, punch above its weight and silence their Asian big brothers at the AFC Asian Cup that's starting in a day from now? Who are the top contenders? What are India's chances of going one better than their last campaign? And will Japan host Faker, Mango, Fairy Peak, Ogre and more? Curious. Stay on to find out more about this. But first, time for all the headlines from Sports 360. In badminton, Indian men's duo of Sathwik Sairaj Rankireddy and Chirag Shetty registered a win at the Malaysian Open. Rankireddy and Shetty beat their Indonesian counterparts 21-18, 21-15 to advance to the round of 16. In the men's singles event, HS Pranoy and Lakshya Sen bowed out in the first round itself. In football, Liverpool fought back to beat Fulham 2-1 in the first leg of the EFL Cup semi-final. Williams opened the scoring charts with a goal in the 19th minute for Fulham. In the second half, Liverpool equalised on a goal from Curtis Jones in the 68th minute. Just 3 minutes later, the Reds scored again on a strike from Cody Gakpo. Now Liverpool have a one-goal lead and face Fulham again on the 25th of January. Real Madrid beat Atletico Madrid 5-3 in the Spanish Super Cup semi-final last night. The game was tied 2-2 at half-time. In the second half, Real fired 3 goals, with 2 of them coming in injury time. Real Madrid will now face either Barcelona or Osasuna in the finals. Paris Mayor Anne Hidalgo says she will swim in the River Seine. This comes just ahead of the Summer Games this year. The Olympic open water and triathlon events are supposed to take place in Seine, but there have been concerns about the quality and cleanliness of the waters. Paris, of course, is hoping to improve it right in time for the Olympics in 2024. And the lineup for the blockbuster UFC 300 event just took an interesting turn. 2 Chinese fighters have challenged each other for the first time. Zhang Weili will look to defend her UFC women's strawweight title when she takes on Yang Ji Onan on April 13th in Las Vegas. Now, Nepal cricket captain is in the news. No, I'm not referring to the infamous news of their former captain Sandeep Lamichhane. He even featured in the Indian Premier League and is now facing a jail sentence for a rape case. No, what I'm referring to is a positive story. I'm talking about their current cricket captain, Rohit Paudel. He is ecstatic, and he and his team cannot wait for the next phase. What are we referring to? Well, recently, India's Foreign Minister Dr. Jaishankar visited Kathmandu, the capital of Nepal. This was during the first week of January. He was invited by his opposite number, the Foreign Minister at Nepal, NP South, for co-chairing the 7th meeting of the India-Nepal Joint Commission. During this visit, Jaishankar is said to have met with the Nepal Cricket Team. He shared pictures of that meeting, which went well, and now an overjoyed Rohit Paudel has revealed that S. Jaishankar, on behalf of the country and the Cricket Board in India, has offered massive support and assistance to Nepal cricket. How so?
It was a pleasure to meet him because he himself called us. He was very happy to meet us. He congratulated us on being selected for the World Cup, and he talked about what support we can get from the BCCI in the coming days.
This was speaking to the media back home. The support the Nepal cricket captain is referring to, of course, is providing home ground assistance, basically a venue, facilities and the right infrastructure to train and play competitive cricket in the future. That is tremendous because India is a financial superpower when it comes to cricket. The reports of revenue sharing that came out last year is proof of that. But the most important aspect is that India boasts of a fabulous infrastructure that has surpassed many other top cricket countries around the world. Just to give you an example, there are 48 cricket venues in India that have hosted at least one international match. Rohit Paudel, of course, couldn't contain his excitement, and rightfully so.
It makes a big impact. You get to play in different conditions there. There are different wickets. It's a big advantage to play with the team there.
Now, what does this mean and what are the implications of this? Nepal as a cricket team have made some rapid strides in the last year. And even though the results didn't quite go their way at the Asia Cup, the scoreboards don't tell the complete picture. For a country where the amount of international cricket they've played in a whole year amounts to the number of Asia Cup appearances that India men's team has made overall, the number is 6. They indeed put up a tough fight, especially against eventual winners India. In fact, pictures from the dressing room of the Nepal cricket team after the match was most endearing when Virat Kohli and Hardik Pandya went over, taking pictures, signing some accessories and chatting with the young starry-eyed Nepal cricketers. The ties between the players of the two teams is indeed heartening to see. And now this move by India to offer a home ground strengthens it further. They've had some memorable runs, of course, over the last year. As we mentioned, Asia Cup was just one of it. They had to qualify for the Asia Cup. They, of course, then made it through to the Asian Games where they made it to the quarter-final stage. They've had an illustrious year and they're fighting to make it better. And India has done this before. And it's great we remind you of it because on the day both countries kickstart their short T20 international series here in India. I'm of course talking about Afghanistan. The country in fact became an ICC associate member in 2013 on the insistence of BCCI, or the Board of Control for Cricket in India, which led to a significant increase in funding. But the biggest roadblock for cricket in Afghanistan came with the Taliban regime. The players couldn't train and cricket in the country came to a grinding halt, which is when BCCI stepped in to provide them a venue and gave Afghan cricketers access to train and play. In 2016, the ground adjacent to Delhi became Afghanistan's home ground. That just fortified their dream and provided them wings to fly. Some of Afghan's cricketing heroes are so loved in India. They have a massive fan base here. Take Rashid Khan, who's a superstar attraction when the Indian Premier League comes around every year. But now, thanks to the stirring performance at the ODI World Cup, there are so many more Afghan cricketers who have earned recognition. And seeing the trajectory that Afghanistan cricket has taken over the years, Nepal cricket teams will also dream of a future that is just as bright. Now, all eyes are on Asia's biggest football competition that gets underway tomorrow. There are two reasons for this. One is the dubious history of the country that's hosting it this time. And the other, of course, is the level of competition and the fact that Asia is seeing an upheaval of sorts when it comes to football. More on that in a bit from now, but yes, the AFC Asian Cup is here. The format is quite simple: group stage matchups, elimination rounds or the knockouts, and then, of course, the much-awaited final. This time, the baton of hosting has been passed on to Qatar, who have drowned out the criticisms from various quarters owing to their last performance as hosts while they were hosting the World Cup in 2022 by drum-beating their ticket sales.
I think after the experience, and this will build up, with the number of tickets that we saw, the demand that we are so since we launched the ticket, we reached around 900,000 tickets until now. I don't think that it will be a big difference. The good experience for the fans that they had during the World Cup encouraged the fans and the other fans to attend and enjoy the atmosphere.
The hosts will play the tournament opener against Lebanon in the Lusail Stadium. It's where the final will also take place on the 10th of February. And there is big money to take home. The overall prize pool is over $14 million, same as it was in 2019. That will be divided amongst the winners, the runners-up, and even the nations who are participating. The format, as we've said, is simple. The group stage till the 25th of January, and of course then the final. So what's at stake in this big brawl? The AFC Asian Cup is a stage where Asian countries look to establish themselves in global football. And especially after the World Cup in 22, where Asian football teams punched above their weight, a lot is expected in this edition from these countries. The teams that made it till here went through rigorous qualifications. It isn't easy getting this far. The only debutant this time is Tajikistan. Now, they could be the underdogs this season, and what a swan song it will be if they do make heads turn with some great football. Tajikistan's domestic football is in turmoil without basic funds and proper facilities, so this is a big stage for them to bring some hope and joy. The other great story has to be that of Hong Kong. The country is making a comeback to this edition after a gap of over 5 decades. The last time they played AFC Asian Cup was in May 1968. From the breakthrough teams to the star-studded ones, for frontbenchers Japan, nothing short of the crown will please them. They are gunning for the 5th title, especially when their last win came way back in 2011. So a lot of pressure on Japan. But they appear to be a team in strong form. In a closed-door friendly match, just a day ago, they beat Jordan 6-1. Their coach Hajime Moriyasu has reshuffled the side. Only 14 players from the 26 who played in the FIFA World Cup in 2022 remains in the squad. They open their campaign against Vietnam. Then, of course, comes a team that carries the hopes of many. Caught in the power politics of the world amidst a war, their national football team is in Doha trying to spread some joy back home through the beautiful game. It is Palestine's 3rd appearance at the Asian Cup, and at a time when their people are in crisis. It is an attempt to put forth an image that doesn't have anything to do with the war, and a homage to all the Palestinian athletes who died since the Israel-Hamas war broke out on the 7th of October. Their first match is against 3-time champions Iran. Now to the team that is slowly winning hearts all around by their strong performances over the last few years, growing from strength to strength. Under a coach who has been in the news for some wrong reasons, but is also getting the team to rally around him, and a captain who the team revolves around. A litmus test awaits the Indian football squad on the 13th of January, when their AFC Asian Cup campaign truly begins. It's their 2nd consecutive appearance. That itself is a huge deal, to make it to the AFC Asian Cup twice in a row, and it's the 5th time overall. But at 102 rank, India is the lowest in its group, and coach Igor Stimac will have a David versus Goliath task to overcome all of this. Stimac has lost 3 of its first team regulars, Anwar Ali, Ashik Kurunian and Jeekson Singh, all of them sidelined due to injuries. Now the Blue Tigers start against Australia, who are the 2015 champions. Now when India played Australia in their opener back in 2011, they suffered a 4-0 loss, but that holds little significance as a decade has passed, yet 2 players from that team are there in this current setup. No prizes for guessing. They are also the most seasoned ones. Talismanic captain Sunil Chhetri and goalkeeper Gurpreet Singh Sandhu. Their leadership will play a huge role in the next few weeks. India's tryst with the AFC history doesn't bring back too many happy memories though. They have managed to qualify only on 4 occasions before, in 1964, 1984, 2011, as we mentioned, and of course 2019. This is of course the next consecutive time from then. They failed to move past the group stage on every occasion, barring 1964. When Harry Wright took over the Indian side, he coached the team to its best finish in the history of Asian Cup. They finished runners-up after losing to Israel eventually. Sunil Chhetri himself admits it is a monumental challenge, but one that they are better prepared to tackle this time.
It's a massive tournament for us, purely because we get to rub shoulders with the best in Asia. Teams like Australia and Uzbekistan are probably of the World Cup level, so you can test yourself against them. What is sure is that we have improved in the last 7 to 8 years, but then you play them and you see how far you are, and how the tempo of the game is. It's just important to play your best, and generally, it's a good marker for the nation to test where we are.
India's target for this AFC Cup should be to avoid 3 defeats. 3 losses and chances to move on to the next round diminishes significantly. Chhetri, who is India's highest goal scorer and has been so far for the last 10 years, will be a huge factor. The coach, Stimac, seems realistic. He says despite the camp and the practice, it wasn't enough to expect miracles here. Faker, Fairy Peak, Mango, Scump, Ogre. No, I'm not narrating a set of fairy tale characters for you. If you are into esports, then you know who or what I'm talking about. But those who are curious, do stick around. After esports made its debut at the Asian Games and bumper crowds rolled in at the gorgeous arena, it's clear that the revolution is truly gaining momentum. And it's Japan now who's looking to hold the joysticks and take charge. According to reports, the International Olympic Committee, or the IOC, wants Japan to host an Esports Olympic Games in 2026. Now, we all know the allure and attraction of esports. The draw is not just with the kind of games and the money that's involved, but it's about unlocking another level of achievement, building a community amongst those who have always lived life on the fringes, on the outside, making the everyday Joe or Jane sitting at a computer screen, or in front of it rather, a sports champion.
The Olympics Committee officials are giving Japan a new gauntlet. Think of it as a power move to defeat an ultimate boss. They want Tokyo to stage the inaugural Olympic Esports Games in 2026. If Japan says I'm game to this idea, it could be a big breakthrough for esports in the coming years. Now, why is this a critical development? If there were any doubts still lingering in your minds about this mega-rich billion-dollar esports industry, then listen up. The first Esports Week that was held in June 2023 in Singapore was a huge success. Including the qualifiers, the event saw a staggering number of around 500,000 gamers turn up, and over 6 million views were recorded across channels, with 75% of the views coming in from the age group of 13 to 34. That was the impact of one of the first instances of introducing esports on a large scale in the sporting landscape. Then there was the Asian Games at Hangzhou, where tickets were sold through a lottery system. And they were like gold dust, vanishing into thin air. More than 3 million tickets were sold during the Games. So clearly this is a trend that is more than just one at this point. Esports mania is spreading like wildfire. In a twist that left jaws dropping like falling blocks, a 13-year-old kid recently defeated the unbeatable game of Tetris. It made the world go, did that really happen? That wasn't just a win, it was a peek into the wonders left to be discovered in the virtual gaming realm. This year could see a significant leap into the digital arena. Saudi Arabia has already tapped into the gaming market. They launched the Esports World Cup. During the 141st IOC session held in India last year, President Thomas Bach said there are 3 billion people. That's right, 3 billion people who are involved in gaming, and over 500 million are interested in esports.
In Singapore, we saw proof that our holistic approach is working. We successfully brought together the Olympic and the esports communities. This was a promising start. But it is just that, a start. It is like in any other sport. After even a promising start, the real race still lies ahead.
Esports is a way to get all the people who have been outsiders into the sporting world. Get into the center. Build a community that is of the nerds who are becoming just as cool. The money is huge, but so is the attraction to not just be one of the gamers, but to follow them too. Say hello to the esports boom.
Time to wrap up Firstpost today, but before we go, we bring you our last serve. Bundesliga champions Bayern Munich gave a very, very special tribute to one of their own, Franz Beckenbauer, who passed away just some days ago. Well, the legend may leave, but the legacy, of course, continues as seen here. But thanks so much for watching Firstpost once again. I'll, of course, see you again tomorrow. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.